Very nice introduction, actually. That was the bottom line of the whole presentation. You did a very good summary there.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for that.
Thanks for having me here. It's actually my fifth OMD / DMEXCO. It's good to be here. I still remember the early days. I miss a little bit of the entrepreneur.com spirit. There's less jeans and more black suits now in this industry. But it also shows that the industry is really professionalizing, I would say, which is a good sign. And if I look at the booths there, I think the money is back in the economy for sure, and that's great news for all of us working in digital / media / technology. So yes, I'm going to talk a little bit about consumer landscape, multi-screen, going to give you some data, and then we're going to go really into 4 separate cases of brands that engage with us, marketeers that engage with us and that wanted to be successful in that multi-screen environment. And we're going to share you some learnings as well on what we achieved and how and why. Of course, this is a simple slide. I'm going to go in some simple stats. I could go in there for 2 hours, but it's just like to warm you up a little bit and to get people in the room here. The media environment was really simple, right? You had print, you had TV, you had radio, and that was it. Today, consumers are driving the revolution. You can say it's technology, I get that, but actually it's consumer adoption. The moderator just mentioned all the devices he had at home. In the US, and I don't have the European stats, but it's going to be more or less the same, right? So the average household in the US has 15 different devices: laptops, desktops, iPods, MP3 players, iPhones, mobile phones, what have you. 15 different devices. And look at your house, it's the same with me, my kids have already 3 each. It is a different world, and consumers are driving companies actually to adapt as well their corporate environments. We call it the consumerization of IT. Consumers have a strong voice in what they want to wear and what device. So that's already a first challenge, and that's the challenge I'm going to tackle. Let's look at a bit of stats here, stats that maybe you know, maybe you don't know, but still. We spend around 25 hours, on average, in Europe, we spend around 25 hours watching TV on a monthly basis. 55% of that TV behavior is now done time-shifted. And I know I was here 4 years ago, and I talked a lot about PVRs and DVRs and time-shifted TV, and somebody says it's never going to happen in Germany. And I understand digital TV is still nascent, very nascent here in Germany. But still, you know, look at me in Belgium. I think 85%, 90% of the people has either broadband or ADSL, and we just all have a digital TV experience, which means that basically of the 25 hours I watch TV, it's less than that. It's zero life. It's all on demand. The news, the series I like, the soaps, even my kids almost don't watch any TV live anymore. So think about that, what that does is for you as a brand if you make serious investments in TV commercials in those countries. Let's talk about print. The bad thing is, like the Economist or Business Week, I don't know, 3 years ago they said in 2015 print newspapers are going to be dead. I don't think it's going to get there, but where it gets is that if you look at all the traffic, again it's a US stat, if you look at all the web traffic in the US, 36% of that traffic is consumed by newspapers' content sites. It says something, and it's sort of similar in Europe. It says something around how important content still is. Digitally consumed content of newspapers, quality content, magazines, how important content is in a digital media environment. Again, that should resonate for you as a brand, as a marketeer. I'll get back to that. 40% of the households doesn't have a landline anymore. They just solely rely on their mobile phone. If you think about mobile has, I just met Mr. Mobile Germany a minute ago, and every year is the year of mobile, but mobile usage has overtaken internet usage in all the countries in Europe. 41% of the adults, we call 35 and up, are using SMS versus 30% of the same target audience is connected to the internet. In the UK, it's actually more. 50% of all the adults use SMS on mobile, while there's only 39% internet usage. In Germany, it's also a decay of is 10%, so it's around 40%, 39% of the German adults use SMS, while 10% lower is internet connected. Now, the interesting thing is if you look at the target audience 16-25, it's 17% says that the mobile is their life device. It's what they don't want to miss. It's what they actually use to communicate, consume content, and do things in their life. Mobile is it. Think about gaming. We all know that gaming has been very important for people on PCs, but today we are in a different world. And I remember again 3 years ago I talked about gaming. Today, if you think about connected gaming, so this is not about the PlayStations and the games and the Xbox that are standalone. I'm talking about Xbox Live, which is basically the network of people who play Xbox lively connected to the network. So there's 23 million at this stage. Just to give you an idea, between Christmas and New Year in 2009, every second we had a subscriber. So it's that fast going. 23 million is, by large, the biggest cable network in the world. It's bigger than any ABC, whatever, a cable content network in the US. So that's, again, as a marketeer, should set you thinking. There's a really high-value audience out there who spends all of those hours and all of those times on that device, in that environment, on that entertainment environment. Again, what does it mean? What does it mean for us? And then last but not least, you would think that because of people are so busy that media consumption goes down. In fact, it goes up. Now, there is 197 hours monthly media consumption in general, which is, I think, 25% bigger than 5 years ago. 200%, so youngsters, 18-24, have the double media exposure than people in age group 65 and up. So, again, people do a lot of stuff on different platforms, on different devices, and the opportunity is there. We all agree on that. And by the way, 65 and plus, I watched German numbers here. One of the fastest growing audiences is actually 55 plus in Germany. And that's across Europe actually the case. 55 plus is growing at a tremendous rate, and that's been missing. That's been missing in the audience targets over the last 4 or 5 years. So it's a sweet spot for brands if you talk to that audience. Technology is evolving as well, and without technology, we wouldn't get to those numbers. But think about it in a simple way. I always say that, and it is TV, sort of internet allows people to watch TV. Actually, we have stats on there. I think 35% of the people watches TV over their connection, and TVs are Wi-Fi enabled. And I just talked about the Xbox community. We have agreements with Canal+, Netflix. Most of the actually 90% of all the Xbox users use it also to watch TV and watch movies on demand. So there is whole convergence where every device, the device is not a single-use device anymore, but is done for lots of multi-purposes. Mobile is a great example. Mobile, people play, and if you think about Windows, the new Windows Phone series coming out in October, it's just going to do that. It allows you to games, it allows you to communicate with your friends, it allows you to have some apps. You have the iPhone example as well. So a lot of things are done in different ways, and the iPads and the netbooks and the slates are all adding to that. So technology is a huge driver, again, of the way people see devices, the way use devices, and that means a lot for marketeers. It means a lot for marketeers because we used to say that the medium is the message, and today you actually can hardly say that. Because the medium doesn't mean anything anymore. The medium is so cross-platform, so multi-screen that the message needs to really fly on its own. It's not just not good enough to do billboards, it's just not good enough to do a 30-second spot. It requires a carefully crafted message, a carefully crafted story, a brand story that can be adapted on those screens, on those multiple environments. And that's the examples that I want to show you today. We were quite curious about who are those multi-screen users. So we did some research together with Forrester and the EIAA. And so we looked at 1,600 adults in 7 different countries. How do we define multi-screen consumers? We say, well, they actually own and they use a TV, and they use it in the broadest sense of the word. They access the internet and content on the internet and services on the internet through and the PC and mobile. And if you think about all of that as a setup, there is 8% of all the European adults in those 7 countries that are defined as multi-screen users. Now, the interesting thing is you might say it's only 8%. It's still 20 million people that are multi-screen users, and I'm not sure how many of you are multi-screen users and do access content on the internet. I assume so. It's 20 million users, and I'll get back to demographics and some socio facts on that. The other thing is that it's increasing dramatically. 3 years ago, it was only 2%. So it's quadrupling in 3 years' time. And I know I can read your minds. It's probably going to be, depending on pricing of data access on mobile, that's going to be driving up in a very incremental way. If 3G and data access are going to go down in price, you're going to see an explosion of mobile here in the European countries, and mobile in the sense of accessing internet content and services. Now, the interesting thing is, if you go into the demographics for a marketeer, these guys obviously embrace digital lifestyle. They have a media and entertainment consumption on all of their devices that I just talked about of 46 hours a week. It's actually 12 hours more, 12.5 hours more than the average consumer in Europe. The other interesting is that 9 out of 10 does something else while they watch TV. Again, for you, that's sort of obvious, maybe, but that's a huge amount of people that actually do real multitasking. They are really or working on their BlackBerry, looking at the internet, doing stuff on other devices while the TV is on. So again, as a marketeer, that's a very, very interesting hook if you think about stories to be told in that environment. And then also interesting because we also say gaming, well, it's still nascent. Well, it's not that nascent because they twice as likely to own a gaming console in the household. The other interesting thing is the value of that audience. It's a sweet spot, really. They're affluent, they all have a good career, they're better educated, and per definition, these guys are also quite brand loyal and they are brand advocates. Again, as a marketeer, that should ring a bell if you think about that audience for your brand. The other thing, and again, this is a study that we will publish quite soon. It's a white paper. It's going to be available for all, and I'm condensing this really to 2 slides. But the thing is that because people are so used to live that digital lifestyle on multiple devices and multiple screens, and do multiple things, is like watch TV, play games, connect with people on all of these devices, their expectations in terms of marketing, of brand marketing, their expectations in terms of what you as a brand offer them on those multi-screens is really high. They want all of the basics of digital marketing in terms of engage, interactive, be relevant. It's even 2 or 3 times as much relevant for them to really see brand advertising and brand stories that add value, that are progressive. And the other thing is that if you're not, then actually you're doing damage to your brand if you're not on the cutting edge. And so that should resonate with you as well. The other thing, and that's the last thing of the study, is that if you have a consistent brand experience across multi-screen, then actually it drives brand metrics in terms of usefulness, in terms of relevancy and brand opinion up by around 70%. That's a lot. We thought it was going to be significant. We didn't think it was going to be that significant. Brand stories, brand campaigns on multiple screens drive 70% more awareness, usefulness, relevancy, and brand. That's a huge delta. Now, I want to give you 4 examples. And the first one is really one that's close to my heart because we worked very hard on that. And I would love to talk about Avatar and the production of Avatar because James Cameron and Microsoft have been engaged for 10 years on this. And we built a whole digital content management system for them in order to be able to produce the movie. It's also obviously all digitally produced. And there was a petabyte of data, that's a lot, to be managed in a content management system. So we did all of that for them and for Lightstorm Productions, or the producer. And we have an ongoing relationship with James Cameron and Lighthouse Productions, even for the sequels, if any. So that's a really that's a technology story, and if you want to hear about that, you ping me a mail because it's absolutely stunning. Now, that's not the part of the relationship I want to talk about. I want to talk about the marketing story. When we were approached by Bettina is the international digital marketeer. We have a relationship with her for years. And when she was talking about the movie, you would agree with me that in order to do marketing for Avatar, it was going to be a huge challenge, because even if you've seen the movie now and you have to explain to somebody who's not seen the movie and you talk about Pandora and blue creatures who actually live in a different world, it's very hard to explain what the movie is all about. It's just not a blockbuster of any other category. So the marketing needed to be adapted to that. And the marketing needed to be so cutting edge and so empowering and so engaging that it really engaged with the consumer in such a way that he had a great idea of what the movie was going to look like, what it was going to be. So that was the challenge. She definitely wanted to go multi-screen, go big. So we went big. We went into 16 markets, launch day, 16 markets, 18 languages, on a lot of different levels. So the first one is still, as I said, content is really still important. So we had a huge rich media experience in 16 markets, where we had a basic rich media execution, a banner execution, and then you invite the user to do something, and we actually had this format as a slider, so it slides the content away, and it brings the user in an avatar sort of microsite environment. You could read about the movie, you could download specific images, you could have a preview of what it's going to look like. There was some contests to create some buzz around it. You could Twitter it, you could Facebook it, you could like it, you could thumbs up, whatever you. So it was totally socially media enabled. And again, it sort of proves the point. We see a lot of brands that still come to us saying, we have this amazing microsite. We spent millions of dollars on the microsite. Can you do a campaign to drive traffic to that site? It's sort of logic to bring the content to where people are in this world. So it's still one of our major audience traffic generators, the MSN content portals. So we brought just the whole thing to the homepage. Hugely successful and huge traffic and boost there. But obviously we didn't stop there. Windows 7 desktop themes is quite simple concept. I think all of you have PCs, and actually I could do raise hands, I'm not going to do it. I know that 85% of you have personalized your desktop experience, because you're not going to use the Apple or Windows interface as it comes standard, right? You're going to put a picture of your kids, of your latest family experience, family trip, whatever. People just personalize their desktop. With Windows 7, with the launch of Windows 7, we thought, well, if people personalize their desktop and we think about brand advocacy, why don't we let people download branded themes? We call it branded themes. So we worked together with Avatar. They were the launch partner, but we also have Ferrari, Bugatti, Fanta and Coke were partners of ours. So they're sort of theme packs that are stored all around the world in 56 online Windows galleries. So anybody that installs Windows 7 is going to be asked to personalize his desktop and goes to a gallery he can download. We never thought we knew it was going to be successful, because we know people, a certain demographics like brands and want to be brand advocates. We didn't know it was going to be that successful. We had 4 million downloads on the day of the movie launch. So people personalizing their desktop, as you see here with avatar pictures. The other good thing is, the learning here is that we all know that digital marketing, the longevity is quite long. The campaign doesn't stop when you think the campaign doesn't stop. It's just like contrary to TV. The media plan is done, your marketing campaign is done. In online, it lives on for a certain time and maybe virally forever. By Easter, which was way after the launch date, the Avatar theme was still the #1 downloaded theme in the world, which is sort of amazing, because then it started to boost the DVD launch, so it helped us there as well. But again, it learns us that people, if you give them the good opportunity, a couple of things. If you give them the opportunity to be a brand advocate for your brand, and it's a good brand that people like, and in this case it's stuff that appeal to people, they're going to adapt it, they're going to use it. And the second thing is, we've been kind of cutting edge here on innovation, and we sort of gave away one of the biggest assets that we have in the company, which is the Windows desktop. It was quite of an innovative thing for us as a company to do. Like in the bottom you see the Twitter and the social aspect to it. A lot of people, we were monitoring the buzz on Twitter, it's just gigantic. People downloaded the theme pack and then would tweet saying, oh, we've got this amazing thing you need to do. So mobile was an integral part of it in the 4 core markets of ours, with the standard, well not so standard roadblocks on that date, on launch date, and obviously mobile microsites. The interesting thing is that we were linking as well the internet experience to the mobile experience to Microsoft Tag. Microsoft Tag is an application that you have on your mobile phone. Any rich media that you saw on the internet had indicated the tag, sort of the branded logo that you see in the middle. So you could snap it with your mobile phone, and it would take you to the microsite where you could download themes for your mobile, where you could download ringtones, etc., etc. So that was the third screen. And then we went one step further because if you think about the target audience for the movie, it was going to be spot on with our Xbox audience. Xbox has evolved, the gaming has evolved very much from the nerds, geeks in their cellar. Not that anymore. There are people who own flat screens and have an amazing flat screen experience and play Halo and all those things in their living room. So for Fox, it was a core audience to really give a glimpse of what the movie really would look like, because on the flat screen with the Bose environment, that was the ideal world for them. So we got a 4 minutes exclusive cut preview that was just downloaded on the Xbox platform. We built a microsite on Xbox. We gave the opportunity to have people share that with other people on the Xbox platform, and it was just hugely gigantic. But then again, in terms of what I just said, make it relevant, make it adapted to the medium. We made gamer picks for avatar gamer picks for Xbox players. So you need to go all the way. You need to go all the way down that path. I just want to roll a little video because you have. It's interesting to have Bettina talk about it and Jolanda, the producer of the movie, and they talk a little bit about our collaboration. There's sound with that. Can you switch on the sound?
So many ways that they touch the consumer. There's obviously the portal site, which from a digital perspective, one thing we knew is that we need to go big or go home. I think Microsoft has an interesting proposition to the consumer because there's so many ways that they touch the consumer. There's obviously the portal site, which internationally is very important. But then they also have the Xbox platform and Xbox Live. And they have ways for us to reach that consumer that may not necessarily be watching television. And lastly, there's of course the Windows Media mobile platform, which is something that we experimented with in 5 countries for this release.
Most people get their first information about a movie online. Whether that's watching a trailer, whether that's reading some news about it. And I think we as an industry have to embrace the online experience and roll it into all of our different marketing opportunities. No longer really is it about what the critics write. It's what do people Twitter? What do people say in their blogs? And if you don't embrace them, they're not going to embrace your film.
One of the things that this film has done for us is now we can go to Microsoft and say, hey, have you thought about this? So it really is now a working partnership.
Think out of the box. Be original. And I think if advertisers and marketers think this way, that they will be successful in whatever campaigns they run.
I think one of the things here that's probably going through your mind is, okay, but these guys spent multi-million dollars on that sort of campaign. What does it do for my brand locally? I would say it's quite irrelevant. We do that in many markets. We engage with marketeers, with media agencies, creative agencies. The key here to the success was basically not the campaign setup, but it was the fact that we had engaged with Bettina and Cameron and the whole production crew for years. So relationships are really important. because then you really understand what their marketing challenges are and how you can actually, as a publisher or as a media agency, relate to that and come up with a great solution. The interesting thing is we did some research after the fact because we wanted to see what the multi-screen impact was on the marketing objectives. And the guys I was stunned, they were stunned, because don't look at the numbers, just look at the graph. 15%, we tested, like, have you seen one ad or 2 screens or 3 screens? And so the people that had seen ads and consumer experiences, brand stories on the 3 screens were 44% more likely to go to the movies, which is a huge step. In terms of post-actions, recommendation to a friend, go to the movies, do something, go to the site. The recall is extremely, it's like 88% of the people who have experienced the 3 screens compared to 58% who have seen only 1 screen execution. And the same for in brand district. How interested am I in the movie, in the brand? Again, 75% on a 3 screen execution versus 46 on a 1 screen, 35 on a control group. So there's a lot of data there, but we were quite stunned on the huge, significant impact of multi-screen. And it sort of relates to the other survey that I just mentioned with Forrester, which was totally done independently, where you see like differences of 70% in terms of your brand metrics. This was another case we did with Pepsi. The global marketing manager for Pepsi Max came to us. They had a challenge in core markets, for them core markets, Australia, UK and Norway. And they wanted to go really big in those markets to the male target audience 1935. They were struggling with that. And so we came up with a concept that basically built around the Max Club, Pepsi Max, Max Club, Maxi Dub. So we said, why don't we do something that is truly multi-screen, but it starts from a branded content experience. We know that for their target audience, content is really still important. We know blokes between 18-35 like to connect. So we built a blokes platform with a little bit of tongue-in-cheek thing. So it was done by our creative unit inside house with creative agencies. And the branded site was actually a place where blokes could connect. And it was the Pepsi Max Club. They could upload some of the stuff that they thought was funny. It was hosted by a very sexy receptionist. We hired Holly Valance, who's one of the stars of Neighbours, Australian, very famous. And so she sort of hosted the whole experience. You could chat with her in a messenger experience. And again, you need to do it all the way. It was just not the branded content. There was a mobile experience. There was an Xbox Live branded site. There was a game you could integrate with on Messenger. And the first time I looked at the concepts, I said, not sure it's going to go well. This I don't like it. And our creative director said, great, you're not in the target audience, so it's going to work. And we launched it. It was hugely successful. And again, it's sort of one step in the relationship with Pepsi Max. I have a little video that shows you a little bit more in a visual way on what it's all about.
Hello and welcome to the Max Club, where you and your mates can show off fun clips for cash prizes, create your own hilarious films, and compete for my affections. Take a trip to the cinema.
Copy of Max's.
Add your own clips and crazy stories in the Hall of Fame and Shame.
So again, what was critical here was go all the way. Have all of those multiple experiences on multi-screen. It starts with a great idea. It starts with a content experience, but it's like you go all the way through Messenger, through gaming, etc. The big outcome for us on this one was that people came back. 25% of the users, consumers, came back, and in average they spend a staggering 18 minutes on that experience. To be fair, that was a huge takeaway for us as well, because we were not expecting that, not even close. But again, it shows, to my earlier stats in the beginning, people have time on hands, and the media consumption goes up. And as you remember, for that target audience, it was twice as much as people in a more older and an adult target audience. So the third one, and a very brief one, is Chevy Volt, because it hasn't launched yet. But it's one that's going to be hitting the markets in the next coming weeks. General Motors came to us saying, "Oh, we want to do something really heavy to promote the Chevrolet electric car, Volt. Adults, a broad target audience, you see 18-34. But how can we make a campaign that gives users a real way to interact with the car, almost as it was a real driving experience?" So we thought long and hard on that, but then we thought about our new consumer experience, Kinect, which is controller-free gaming for Xbox 360. And if you haven't seen what Kinect is, then you should go to the Microsoft booth, because there's demonstrations of that. It's really controller-free gaming. The camera recognizes your face, recognizes your gestures, and it's a very intuitive way of gaming. So again, it speaks to, a partnership that drives innovation. So we thought long and hard, how can we integrate and make Volt one of the launching partners of Kinect? So they're going to be integrated. So going to be microsites, going to be the traditional Microsoft digital marketing campaigns on mobile, on Xbox, on internet. But as a cherry on the cake, we integrate the car in the game. So if consumers get to some points and to degrees, they can unlock a code and they can truly drive the Chevy Volt in the game. So again, that speaks to some of the innovation that we're trying to drive with major brand advertisers as well. The last one is, I wasn't going to use it because it's US, but somebody told me, no, Flash Forward is really hot in Germany. Okay, so this was basically a very simple campaign, very extensive campaign, because it went really all across the board massively. ABC had a challenge, as you know, in the war in the media war in the US against the other networks. They wanted to launch Flash Forward on the opening night. They want to take major viewership there. They want to wipe away the competition. So we went very deep with them, and we built a multi-screen experience, rich media, mobile, gaming again. We gave lots of previews, dedicated game epics, dedicated game on Messenger, etc., to build awareness, but also more important, not to build awareness, but to have the people the first night, 8 o'clock, which is primetime TV, and drive people to watch the first episode of Flash Forward. I'm going to give you a little preview of that.
As you're coming up, you wanna go back down. Go back down. Go back down.
Yeah, I just want to give you the flavor of these different executions. Again, it's really going all the way. It's going all the way. And everything that I said in terms of making it interactive, relevant, add value, produce content, sign up people to get the preview, to get stuff that other people don't have as a social currency, etc., etc., etc. Again, the results were actually extremely well. ABC beat CBS there at opening night they had 57% viewers on the 8 o'clock premium time, which was like 1.5 million viewers, more than any other network. It was a huge success for them. Now, I need to wrap up here. A lot of people tell me, oh, it's so complicated, right? What you're telling me is I need to do all of that. I don't know. I don't know how it resonates for you. I don't know how it resonates for your brand. I don't know how it resonates for your marketing budgets. What I'm just telling every time over and over again is that it's not a simple world. Consumers are living a quite complicated and complex life. But marketing in itself doesn't need to be complicated. It's going to be complex, but it's not going to be complicated. It's just doing a lot of things. And everybody asks me, and we have lots of customer meetings here, what's the silver bullet? There is no silver bullet. Well, the first of all, bullet is that you need to realize that your audiences are massively going digital. That's clear, I think, I hope. But then the multi-screen approach here is offering you a way to reach out to a sweet spot of audiences. There's like 20 million people today, 8% of the European population in those 7 markets, and growing incremental. They have high expectations from marketers. They have high expectations from brands. They have high expectations from the technology and the experiences they have, but also from the brands that try to interact with them. So, per definition, your life is not going to be simple anymore because the consumer reality is extremely complex. So it's doing a lot, and it's a combination of those silver bullets that make your campaign successful, yes or no. We tried very hard to bring innovation because every brand wants cutting edge. Every brand wants first look and wants a media first. It's very hard to accomplish, but again, we got to reserve that for partners. We have big partnerships with media agencies. We have big partnerships with a couple of global accounts. They've invested in us for years. We invested in them for years. And that's the way we try to operate and try to work. Results are obviously key in this world that's digital driven, and that's what top of your mind. If you're either a media agency or a brand marketeer, results and digital is extremely measurable and doing that. But for me, the key is the digital awareness and everything that we just said. How do we evolve those data that are available today? And I know exactly what I'm talking about because we sit on a ton of data. How do we drive consumer insights out of that pot of data that helps you as a brand connect to your audiences? That's the conversation that we have most of the time. And last but not least, you need to invest in the partnership. And for me, the partnership, because some of the examples I showed, the creative is done in-house. Actually, I don't want to be in this business. Microsoft doesn't want to be in this business. We have a partner model. We want to partner with creative agencies. The thing is that creative agencies are very late into the game and sometimes are just not adapting or just don't know what they don't know. So we have a lot of people doing in-house stuff on behalf of brands. But basically, we don't want to be in that business. We have a partner model. The partnership model, where it works, where it's traditionally worked at its best, is where the brand, the marketeer, the media agency, and by media agency I talk strategic planner, creative agency, and the publisher sit together around the table. That's what we've seen with Fox, that we've seen with hundreds of clients. Sit together, have a good brainstorm about what's possible, what's not, and then go for it. I wish you a lot of success. I need to wrap up in terms of time. I wish you a lot of success on your digital journey, if we can help. Don't hesitate, basically, to email. I'm very open for email if you want any more information on what I just said. I can refer you to the German team and the German booth and in the exposition. I wish you a good rest of DMEXCO. I'm not sure whether you want to wrap up or you have questions.
Well, I might have some questions. First of all, a warm hand to Marc Bresseel. I think there was an enlightening speech here. Thank you very much for that. I might have one question for you. Seeing all the examples you mentioned, you were talking a lot about MSN, obviously. Is MSN or is Microsoft, let's say Microsoft, does Microsoft become a platform company or more media company in the future?
Well, basically, it's both, right? So we are a platform company. Somebody says, are you a technology company or a media company? I'm like, dude, of course we're a technology software company, right? We have Windows, we have Xbox out there, we have all those platforms available today. That's what we built the business on for 30 years. Are we a media company? I don't know. If you generate 600 million eyeballs on different assets, MSN is a really important one. It's not important only in the US and the UK, but it's important in all our markets. If you see in Germany the investments we did on the content portal, if you have 500 million users, consumers on Windows Live Services with Mail and Messenger, if you have a network of 23 million users on Xbox, you are per definition a media. You are a medium because you reach out to consumers and you want to say to brands, how can we use those assets in the best optimal way to bring you a brand message? So definitely we are in the advertising business, we are in the technology business, and the beauty of it is that the media business, the ad business, and any media agency here in the room will agree with me. Technology at the end of the day is going to be a huge differentiator for agencies, how to make margins, how to make business. Is going to be a huge differentiator for marketers if you want to target your target audience in this world. It's technology driven, believe me. It's data, stats, and tools that allow you to target your specific audiences. And we don't talking on the one-to-many conversations. It's a one-on-one conversation. So we are sort of in the middle. And I forget the last aspect of it, not only technology and media, but don't forget that we are kind of a big marketeer ourselves. 60% of our total marketing budgets at Microsoft is online, is spent digitally. So we learn a lot from that, and we try to translate those learnings as well to what we do on the media side.
Very interesting. I could have asked you a lot of questions, but sorry, our time is running up.
No problem.
So we have to hurry up. Thanks for your presentation. You probably take your notebook with you.
Yes.
I'm quite sure. Just make yourself comfortable here. I'm seeing a lot of people in the back end. There are a lot of seats available in the front. So just come in and make yourself comfortable. Ich werde jetzt kurz die Sprache ändern. Sie werden sich wahrscheinlich wundern, warum springt der ständig hin und her zwischen Deutsch und Englisch. Das geht leider nicht anders. Es gibt manche Leute, die sprechen eher Englisch hier, haben auch ihre Vorträge dementsprechend vorbereitet. Manche, die haben, wie das Panel, was jetzt kommen wird, da geht es eher um deutsche Aspekte, da geht es auch generell aber darum, wie die Agentur...
A bit of a crisis or question or a transition period. We always tend to do what worked in the past. That's not really a time where we take the biggest risk. And so what we believe is that those decisions should be based on hard facts and rational. So that's why we're investing a lot in creating tools that give you the right data. In Germany, we've invested a lot to help create this single source panel that actually allow advertisers to measure effectiveness of their campaign across media. And what they see is that online video is more effective on a ratio of 4:1 to their TV on short-term ROI.
I mean, you have so much experience and learned from search engine advertising. What can you take out of this to make display advertising better?
It's a very interesting question, and I think at Google we see it, there's two parts of the answer. One is we absolutely want to adapt this science of search to the art of display. Science of search because we believe you should really measure and optimize based on facts, and search is providing advertisers with an enormous amount of hard data. But it's also an art, and a lot of the advertising is not just about it's about creating emotions. And so we're investing a lot also in creating spaces that allow advertisers to express themselves. If you see the masthead format on YouTube, that's a big real estate. It's actually almost a website within a website that advertisers can use to create exciting ads. Last question, personal question. What are you looking for personally here at the DMEXCO? What makes it for you exciting to be here? Well, as I said, I really love coming here every year because it's really the pulse of the internet community. It's by far the best trade fair in Europe, and so I look forward to hearing a lot of the innovation and the vision of other people on this meeting. And we're going to hear right now because the colleagues for the next panel are waiting already backstage. Benjamin Ifaz, ladies and gentlemen, our keynote speaker. Merci beaucoup. So, meine Damen und Herren, wir wollen